Hello, Hola, Konnichiwa, Salaam, Ciao Namaste. Peace to all. This is Soulology, the science of the soul, and what we will be talking for today is about the illusion of stress and the soul. What do they have to do with each other? And what do I mean by this? We all go through our everyday life having to deal with situations, issues, maybe something on the news, something on social media, drama with family, drama with friends, drama on social media, or just drama with anything that has nothing possibly to do with us. Dealing with that type of energy and going throughout our day. But yet we don't realize that stress is merely an illusion. Now you might be thinking to yourself, how can stress be illusion? I feel stressed. I'm doing what I do right now and it's stressful, but what you have to realize is there are things that are set in place, and even while those things are set in place, you are not mentally working towards going forth to understand self, to realize you don't have to stress about those things. And of course, what is the definition of stress? And the definition of stress is simply a state of a mental or emotional strain on tension or resulting from adverse or very demanding circumstances. Certain things can make you tense, certain things can perhaps put you in a sense of frustration, making it difficult for you to maybe think things through mentally and clearly, maybe making it difficult for you to work out or do what's necessary, or possibly leading you to eat a lot of things that are unnecessary, stressing you out even more. Even on top of that, stress can also lower your pH levels of the body due to the damages of what it can do. It can also deteriorate cells in the body, making you sick, making it difficult for you because of how you feel. Yet, this is an illusion. There's no real value in this of being stressed, yet we get stressed due to the fact of us going through our everyday life. We go to work perhaps, or we go to college, especially for college students when you have tests and everything, and you get stressed about that, trying to pass it, or going to work, making sure you do a good job, or going home to your family, maybe improving on something or providing for your family, whatever it is, and we stress about these things and don't realize these are mere illusions and we can shift anything as we so desire. But the first thing I'd like to talk about is, why does this happen? Why do we get stressed? What distracts us exactly? Well, one of the things we have to realize from stress is the fact that we get distracted by social media sometimes. And when you get distracted by social media, there are several ways you can get distracted. For example, social media at times has become a plague for making us, in a sense of giving us a sort of title towards something. You have people who have titles for they're in a relationship with each other to prove a point, and when someone puts a picture up, for example, or someone does a certain thing, for example, it can be stressful upon the other person because of what is said. You have people who put statuses and they get upset because they see that status and maybe they get upset about it, thinking, why did you say that about me? You have, for example, with social media, you have people who get mad when you look at other pictures of other people. And it stresses people out and makes them jealous over things that are necessary. The problem, however, with this is there's no real reason to stress out about social media, you are really allowing the influence of something, an outside force, cloud your judgment on how to go forth about things. Instead of logically thinking through things, does that person care for you? Does that person love you? Or what do they show? We are personally looking at people due to what we see them looking, and not looking to see if the actions serve the purpose of the relationship, the experience you are creating in that very moment. Is it serving you purpose, or is it a flawed mistake? We're too focused on social media and what things are said, instead of focusing on, is this working for us? Is this who I'm being? Are we being what's necessary to be in a relationship? Think about that. And matter of fact, tell me your thoughts on that in the comment section, the comments section down below. The next part of this is to add to that, because I'm sorry, there's 3 parts to this. That was number 1. But number 2 is, for some of us, it can simply be work or college. For work, it can be stressful because of the simple fact that we have maybe a lot of people we have to help, or a lot of papers we got to fill, and we may not know what to do. And for, of course, college students, the other thing could be you may have a lot of classes and a lot of homework and a lot of exams, and you have to do a lot of studying. And that can be stressful to oneself, because what we look, no matter how you see these two, they're not far off from the same thing. They are looking to succeed at something. But at the same time, you have to be willing to know self and realize what's important to you in success. If you believe you'll succeed, then great. But realize, does it serve you to stress out about these things? And some people might say yes, some people might say no. In my own experience, it would not serve me to be stressed about those things, because of the simple fact that it will only make you more sick. It can lead to other problems. There are people who've gotten ulcers from being so stressed out. There are people who've gotten heart attacks from being stressed out. There are people who've gotten strokes from being that stressed out. And you have to think logically in your mind, again, is this who I am being? Is it worth stressing out about that? Take the time to yourself. This is something I tell people: meditate 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening. Get to know yourself better. And when you are meditating on this, especially when you're working a job, the reason why I would state this is it helps you to see things for what they are instead of getting upset. It helps to teach you how to keep the mind calm in states of what might be called havoc or frustrating moments. Realizing that you do have control of self, and that you can shift whatever happens, but you have to be willing to understand every thought you think and realize what is important to you that can grow and serve you in a positive way that works for you, and what does not serve you and is most likely a negative way that could cause more havoc on you, your mental mind, your mental state of mind, your body, and so on, and even your soul, because it does have an effect on how you feel and energy-wise. Learn how to control self, because you have control over you. No matter what people think at work, no matter what papers or exams you get, you have to realize you have control over self. And the third one is fear tactics. What do I mean by fear tactics? People stress about what's going on in the world and fear there are things that could happen that could harm them in any way. But you have to remember that what you are doing simply is listening and watching information from some type of show or newscast, and you are using your mind, allowing them to use your mind to let your emotions masquerade as fear. fear may be real, but the thing is, your thoughts of fear are not real. If you allow your thoughts to masquerade as your fears, then you will let it create a story that has not happened. You have to realize you are here in the moment. And even if that's the case, that's going on, you have to go on with what works for you instead of worrying what's going out there in the world. You only have control of you at this moment in time, not what's going out there. There's no reason to fear that. If you fear those things, then change it. You have to realize that instead of being stuck in a box and believing that there's nothing you can do and listening to someone tell you how terrifying the box is and what can harm you and so forth in the box, you have to realize to leave the box. And what I mean by this is simply realizing you can change what you desire. If you don't like those things that are going on, change it. If you fear those things that are going on, change it. Change your ideology, change your thought process, or just leave that area completely, or leave that country completely, or whatever works for you to grow self. You have to realize you do have power over self, no matter what anyone else says. There is no reason to fear what's going on, also because of the fact that you have to realize you are in an experience, that everything that's happening right now has already happened before, for one thing, and two, the experience itself is for you to explore and create something new out of it. Create something new out of it instead of being afraid, and make it something that can be a positive to who you are and growing self, instead of worrying about what they think or what a person says. And the next thing is, why should we not be stressed? As I was saying earlier, you shouldn't be stressed for the simple fact that, for one, it lowers your pH levels, and that can turn your body more acidic. By being more acidic, this can cause you to get sick. This could cause clouded judgments and thought process, and sometimes it can lead to us eating the most fattening foods to calm our nerves. For one, you want to take time to yourself. This is why earlier I said meditation, 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening. Because when you're taking time to yourself and working on self instead of worrying what other people say, you are now working towards seeing the illusion for what it is. That it's an illusion. Most of us don't realize that stress does not exist. It only exists due to the fact of what has been put on the planet that causes stress. When you have to work a lot of hours, when you may not be able to pay your bills on time, when you may, of course, have those college issues where you're trying to do exams, final exams and everything, and you're trying to pass and so on and so forth, where you're working and you're trying to make sure to keep pace with what you're doing. All of that causes stress, and yet you have to realize you have control over everything. And that you have to realize, is it worth the time to be stressed? If it's stressing you out, two things. Either leave that which is stressing you out, or realize you have control of self and learn how to control those things within who you really are, instead of worrying about what they say or they're thinking. Realize you have control, and you can create a better growth process within self. What is this though? So you have to realize that everything distracts you, of course, and that you have power over that, and just being your peace. Be the peace within self, and realize that when you are being peace, and what I mean by that is, how would you act if you were peaceful? What would you do? How would you be? And again, put that in the description down below. Tell me your thoughts on how would you be if you were being your peace. For example, in my experience, I wouldn't worry what people say anymore because I see the illusion for what it is and go on with my life. I would be a lot more happier. I'd smile more. And you have to realize, and I believe I talked about this last week, how smiling produces a positive, effective energy on the body. That if you smile for, I believe it's a minute or so, a minute to 5 minutes, it produces that type of energy that gives you positive energy. You have to realize, again, you have control over that. And now, what does this, of course, have to do with the soul? This has to do with the soul because of the fact that you are creating an experience of a lifetime. And you have to realize that at the end of the day, that in order to thrive and live life, not die in life or in this experience, that peace will help you grow further as part of your health, and part of your mental mind, and a part of your soul. That you can control what is within self to create your